Most men think relationship problems begin with big arguments. They think the warning signs are obvious. She says she's unhappy. She talks about leaving. She complains constantly. But in many relationships, that isn't how emotional distance begins. It begins quietly, in small moments, unspoken disappointments, missed opportunities, conversations that never happen. And perhaps the most surprising truth is this: many women are not secretly asking for perfection. They're not asking for expensive gifts. They're not asking for dramatic romantic gestures every day. Often they're hoping for something much simpler: to feel understood, to feel valued, to feel emotionally connected, to know that the person beside them still notices who they are beneath the responsibilities, routines, and years that have passed. And here's what many men miss. A woman may not always tell you directly what she needs. Sometimes she hints. Sometimes she waits. Sometimes she hopes you'll notice. And when you don't, disappointment can slowly turn into silence. But before silence becomes distance, there are signs, small clues, changes in behavior, little moments that reveal something important. She doesn't necessarily want more things. She wants more connection. And today, we're going to explore 7 relationship signs that most men completely miss, and what a woman may secretly be hoping you'll understand before it's too late. Because the first sign is so common that many men mistake it for criticism. She repeats the same complaint again and again. At first, this can be frustrating. You think, well, I already talked about this. I already explained myself. Why does this keep coming up? But here's another way to see it. People repeat things when they don't feel heard. If she says, "One never spend quality time together. I miss how we used to talk. I feel like you're always distracted," and those same concerns return months later, the issue may not be the words themselves. The issue may be that the emotional need behind those words still hasn't been addressed. Think about it. If someone tells you they feel lonely in the relationship, they are giving you valuable information, not an accusation, not a test, an invitation, an opportunity to understand what matters to them. And when those opportunities are ignored, people can become quieter over time. That's why repeated complaints are often not about conflict. They're about connection. And this leads to the second sign. She stops sharing the little things. This change is subtle, but powerful. Remember the small conversations that exist in healthy relationships. "Wes, what happened today? You won't believe what I saw. I heard something funny. Can I tell you something?" These tiny moments seem unimportant, but they are not. They are the threads that create emotional closeness. And when those threads disappear, distance begins quietly. If she stops telling you stories, stops showing you things, stops asking for your opinion, stops inviting you into her everyday world, pay attention. Because people naturally share with those who make them feel seen. This doesn't mean the relationship is over. It means the connection may need attention. And sometimes what she secretly wants is simple: put the phone down, look at her, ask a follow-up question, stay interested. Because attention is one of the deepest forms of affection. Now here's the third sign. She says she's fine, but her energy changes. This is where many men become confused. You ask, "What's wrong?" You ask, "Are you okay?" She says, "I'm fine," and technically, maybe she is. Maybe she doesn't want an argument. Maybe she doesn't know how to explain her feelings. Maybe she's tired. Or maybe she's quietly wondering, would he understand if I told him? This is where emotional maturity matters. Instead of asking only, "What's wrong?" try asking, "How have you been feeling lately?" "Oh, or Ari, I feel like we've been a little distant. I miss talking to you." Those questions invite honesty, not defense. And sometimes honesty is exactly what a relationship has been missing. Because the fourth sign is deeply important. She stops asking for what she needs. Think about that. Healthy relationships contain requests. Can we spend more time together? Can we go somewhere this weekend? I'd like more affection. Can we talk? These requests are not demands. They're instructions. They tell you how to love someone better. But if someone asks repeatedly and feels ignored, eventually they may stop asking. Not because they stopped caring, because they stopped expecting change. And that's a painful difference. If she used to ask for your attention and no longer does, don't immediately assume she no longer needs it. Ask yourself, did her needs disappear, or did hope disappear? That's an important question. And it leads to the fifth sign. She becomes more emotionally alive with other people. This one is difficult. Maybe she laughs freely with friends. Maybe she talks enthusiastically with family. Maybe she seems energetic in other places. But at home, she becomes quiet. Again, don't jump to conclusions. Life is complicated. Stress affects people. Exhaustion affects relationships. But if someone consistently brings their emotional energy everywhere except into the relationship, ask why. Does she feel heard? Does she feel appreciated? Does she feel emotionally safe? Or has routine slowly replaced connection? The answer isn't jealousy. The answer is curiosity. Understand before you react. And here's the sixth sign. She remembers what you no longer notice. This may surprise you. Sometimes women quietly observe things men overlook. The way you stopped asking questions. The way conversations became shorter, the way affection changed, the promises forgotten, the routines repeated. People notice where attention goes. And when attention slowly disappears from the relationship, it creates a feeling that's difficult to explain. Not anger, not sadness, something quieter, feeling unseen. That's why small actions matter. A message, a compliment, a touch, a question, a few uninterrupted minutes. Because relationships rarely collapse from one dramatic moment. They weaken through tiny moments nobody repairs. And now we reach the seventh sign, the most important one of all. She doesn't secretly want perfection. She secretly wants partnership. Think about what that means. Someone to listen, someone to notice, someone to ask, how are you really doing? Someone who remembers, someone who participates, someone who is emotionally present. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming available. And if you're a man over 55, this lesson becomes even more valuable. Many men spend years working hard, providing, solving problems, taking responsibility. Those things matter, but emotional connection matters too. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is your full attention, not your solutions, not your advice, your presence. Because presence says, I still see you. I still value you. I still care about who you are. And perhaps that's what many relationships are quietly asking for. Not more money, not more gifts, not grand romantic gestures. Just two people becoming curious about each other again, asking questions again, laughing again, listening again. Because relationships rarely end in one moment. They drift apart through small moments of disconnection. And they are often rebuilt through small moments of reconnection. One conversation, one question, one apology, one evening without distractions, one honest effort to understand. So if you've noticed these 7 signs, don't panic. Don't assume the relationship is over. See them as invitations, opportunities, reminders. Because the woman who seems quiet may not be asking for miracles. She may be asking something much simpler. Will you notice me again? And perhaps that's the real secret most men miss. Love doesn't survive because two people once felt strongly about each other. Love survives because two people continue choosing each other, listening, understanding, showing up again and again. And if both people are willing to do that, even a relationship that has become distant can find its way back. Because in the end, what most people secretly want isn't perfection. It's to know that even after all these years, they still matter to the person they love.